Japanese school girl gets drawn into some sort of supernatural thing and gets her ordinary life disrupted by it and has to deal with some giant supernatural threat and learn about life and all that. That's a well-tread genre by anime. Let's not pretend it isn't. I mean, it at this point it seems to be Japan's version of person gets exposed to radioactivity and gets superpowers. What that is to American comics, it this is to Japanese anime. And normally, I just ignore examples of this genre. I don't even know how far this trope goes back. It goes back at least all the way to Inuyasha. But, but, it was on Crunchyroll. The weather was too bad to go outside, and I had heard some good things about it, so I booted it up. And, and well, is it good enough to overcome the cliches and tropes that it is by necessity a slave to from being part of this genre? I would say mostly yes. This isn't the most original movie you will see, but it definitely, and I can't even say it was the best anime movie of last year because I haven't seen The Boy and the Heron yet. It was only in my theater for like one weekend, and that was the weekend right before Christmas, and I was so busy I wanted to go see it, but I couldn't. So now I have to wait for that. So now I have to wait for that to come to home video to see it, and but this was definitely one of the best looking animated movies I have ever seen, and and it does have some fun characters and dialogue. You of course have the normal everyday Japanese schoolgirl with the tragic backstory, the titular Suzume, who gets drawn into an adventure when it turns out that there are these doors in these deserted areas that something from the afterlife called a worm comes out of, and when it does, nobody but her can see it, but it causes earthquakes. She then runs into Sota, who is a guy charged with closing the doors and locking them. Only she accidentally lets loose something called the Keystone, which then turns into a cat and then turns Sota into a chair. And I will say this: the English dub is very good. The English. You have Spider-Man himself, Josh Keaton, as Sota, the secondary lead. So that does elevate this above your average English dub of a Japanese anime. So yeah, she then goes on a journey across Japan, learning about herself, her past, and growing as a person. Meanwhile, I learned that Japan apparently has no way to find lost kids who just run away from their guardians because apparently they can just walk out of school anytime they want, according to this movie, and you can't just alert the police and have them pick the person up, even though they're appearing all over social media. I'm not sure how accurate that is to how Japan actually works. Let's be honest. That seems to be, if that is how Japan works, good night. Children must be disappearing left, right, and center. But yeah, this is this is very much an epic, beautiful movie that has some very heartfelt moments, and it left me feeling good about having watched it. The humor is funny. The characters have charm, and again, I don't like giving away too many plot points in my reviews I don't simply because as a I just I want people who have not seen the movie to be able to watch it and get the same enjoyment out of it that I did. I don't want my review to spoil that for you. But just know that if you are sick of this genre of film, of anime, this probably won't change your mind about it. This isn't anything insanely revolutionary, except maybe with the animation, which again, this rivals classic Disney in my book. This everything about this movie is so lush and colorful and just and it just and it just feels like a breath of fresh air. US animators could learn a lot by looking at this of how to make a movie feel refreshing, and when they do go into the magical world, it does, because everything is so colorful, green, and light on in the real world. Going into the spirit world actually makes that stand out more and be a little more horrifying. So, and you'd think, and and I wouldn't say there are that many major surprises, but this will keep you entertained for its 2 hour runtime. And I'm sure this movie will have its fans, and it will also have its detractors. But I think most people will find themselves enjoying it. This is a perfect example of like a 7 out of 10 anime. It's not the greatest thing ever, but boy does it look good. It has a really good dub, which that's nice to get out of Crunchyroll, and it's and I like the characters, I and well, it's a good example of its genre. Just because a genre has been done to death doesn't mean that you can't make good examples of that genre. So it does a good job at that in that. So yeah, I'd say give it a shot. It's well worth streaming if you already have Crunchyroll, or if you just want to spend like $5 renting it off of Vudu, it's well worth that. And you may find that it's worth owning on disc. I'll probably get it on disc at some point. So yeah, I so yeah, this was a surprise to me. This was a surprise that I actually enjoyed this movie, because I don't normally enjoy movies that are like this. So hope you found that. I hope you. I know I didn't get into plot details or anything, but as I said, I don't like doing that because that ruins it for anyone who hasn't seen it. So yeah, give it a shot. Hope. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.